I've got the scoop on what's going on in the Phoenix real estate market in April of 2021, and it all starts right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Caitlin McKegg, a realtor here in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm giving you your market update on what's happened in the real estate market in April of 2021. If you follow my channel, you know I give weekly market updates every Monday, but I also do more of a deep dive on a monthly basis, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm showing you all the charts and graphs and data, everything that you need to know about what's going on in the Phoenix real estate market. If it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with what's going on, or follow me on social media. I post a lot of information there as well. So let's jump right in. I always start with talking about the statistics of where we are today as compared to where we were a year ago. Starting with our active listings, we're down 70.2% now as compared to April of 2020. Our listings under contract are up 29.6%. Our monthly median sales price is up 18.1% at $360,000. Our closed sales are up 16.1%. And our months of supply is extremely low at 0.4, which is basically about 15 days. What that means is if no new homes came on the market for sale, we would run out of inventory for sale here in Phoenix in about 15 days. I know it's really hard to wrap your head around, but that's how severely low our supply is. So that's where we stand today. It's kind of the same story. We have low supply, our number of listings under contract is up, and our number of active listings is down. So not a lot of options for buyers, which is driving our prices higher. All of the information I'm going to share today is coming from MLS data here in Phoenix, as well as the Cromford Report. The Cromford Report is a subscription that I have, and they analyze all the MLS data, extrapolate it into awesome charts and graphs that I'll be sharing with you today, and give those tools to their subscribers who are realtors to share with their clients. So I want to acknowledge the Cromford Report and thank them for all the hard work that they do so that I can share this information with you. If you follow my channel and watch my Monday updates, you know that I always talk about the CMI, which is the Cromford Market Index. What the CMI is a value that's assigned to measure supply and demand factors in our market. And it's based off of historical trends, seasonal factors of supply and demand here in Phoenix to get to this number. And so they've assigned a range that's a normal range. Anywhere between 90 to 110 is a normal range, which means we're in a balanced market. Anything below 90 is a buyer's market, and anything above 110 is a seller's market. If you haven't been paying attention or just haven't seen my videos, we are in an extreme seller's market. We have been in the high 400s and even the low 500s a couple months ago in terms of our CMI value. Again, anything over 110 is a seller's market, so we are very far in that direction. I'm going to take you into my Cromford Report subscription and show you all of these awesome charts and graphs as we go through this information today. So let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at the CMI, and we can look at both the overall CMI, the supply, and the demand index. So we're sitting at 476.2, so very far into a seller's market. But you can see this overall CMI has been going down lately, which is something that we haven't seen in a while. Over the last year, the CMI was increasing every day at a pretty sharp trajectory, and now it's finally starting to taper off and fall. It is not crashing by any means, it's just gradually going down, and that's largely because our supply has not changed, but our demand has started to soften. So if we look up here at demand, we're at 108.1. That's still 8% above normal. So even though demand has softened, it is not going down. It's not below normal by any means. We're still above normal. So demand is still a big factor. And then when we look at supply over here, that's at 22.7, which is essentially 78% below normal. So our supply is extremely, extremely low. And this factor has not really moved much at all, which is part of the problem because we're not getting any additional supply. We can look here at our demand line here. You can see the demand trend. It's tapered off. A month ago it was at 111.5, but has gone down, and now we're sitting at 108.1. So slowly but surely going down. And then on the supply side, you can see that for a long time did not change, but recently we're seeing a very small uptick. I mean, 22.3 to now 22.7, very small, but still you can at least see this trend on this line that supply started to increase slightly. So the more that supply increases and demand comes back towards normal, the more our market will trend towards a normal direction. Now, I will say at 476.2 of an overall CMI rating, Cromford says that it's going to take at least 10 months to a year before we could even start to think about being in a balanced market again, because we have so far to go from this number to get back to a normal rating. This is another great graph to look at both the supply and demand index together so we can see how they trend and where they land. So right now, obviously, demand is higher than supply. We're at 111.3. And then supply is down at 22.1. This little yellow section here is the normal range if we were in a balanced market. So demand heading closer towards normal, supply still way below normal. But if we were to get both the supply line and the demand line into this yellow area, we would be in a balanced market. So we've got a ways to go. One thing I want to point out is this craziness over here. This is your 2006 to 2008 market crash. And what you can see is that it is the opposite situation. We have the supply index way over the demand index. Today we have the demand index way over the supply index. So it was really the opposite back in 2008. And those things spiked up very quickly. Demand went down while supply went up, and that's a big problem for prices. So, but what I want to point out is that you can see here where they were, the lines were far apart in 2007. The crash and when prices really went down and we finally got back to kind of a normal market, it was still 2 years. So that was 2007 over here when the lines were the furthest apart and our demand was gone and supply was high. It still took until 2009 for supply and demand to come back together. And then they kind of stayed together and then went apart again in 2011, and that's when prices were really low. You were able to scoop up whatever you wanted, but we still had demand. Look at that, 126, so it was 26% above normal. Our supply went down to 81.5, but my point is that it took 2 years to go from such an extreme back to normal. So even though we're sitting over here, and people are saying that, prices have to stop eventually and there's going to be a crash. Well, I think it's still going to have to take 2 years for us to see, or a year for us to really see much change, because we've got a ways to go from where supply and demand sit today. So where are home prices going? The latest Case-Shiller Home Price Index numbers were released, and this is from December to February. And this compares to the previous set of months of how much there has been an increase in home prices in all of these major cities. So San Diego is in the top spot. They had the largest increase at 2.87% in their home prices over that time period. But Phoenix is at number 4. So we were at 2.03%. The national average was about 1.05%. So we pretty much doubled the national average here in Phoenix, even though we're not in the top spot. If you look back to comparing this time last year, Phoenix is in the number one spot, so we increased 17.4%, which is more than any other major city that they're looking at. San Diego, very close to us at 17%. So you can see this is happening everywhere, and I'm sure if you're moving from somewhere else, you know that this is happening in your area too. But Phoenix is definitely in the top spot as it relates to last year, and in the past few months we're still in some of the top 5 spots there in terms of our home price increases. So this map is showing where in Phoenix most of the prices are. So we've got this color coded here by everything in the hundreds, in the light green, 200s, darker green, so on. And I will say this this map looked a lot different a couple months ago. You could definitely see a little bit more green and blue on there, and now it's kind of graduated to the yellow and orange and red a lot more. So if you're looking for a home in the 200,000s, you don't have too many choices. There are some areas here of Tolleson, Phoenix, out in Surprise, Whitman, and Apache Junction, but other than that, it's a little bit limited. And same with the 300,000s. Mesa's got a good chunk of that, Surprise, Buckeye, but definitely not as much blue color on here as there had been in the past. As you look at the orange and getting into the red, the 400s, 500,000s, I'm surprised to see how few areas there are in the 400,000 range here. Chandler, some areas of Gilbert, here in the East Valley, and then way out here in the West Valley, but otherwise throughout the city it's still hard to find homes in the 400,000 range. There's more in 500,000s, and then of course you can see quite a bit in the 600 to 700 and 800,000 range, but this map has really changed, which I find interesting. So with prices continuing to increase, let's look at appreciation. Annual appreciation based on monthly sales, dollar per square foot. So anywhere between 22% to 32% annual appreciation, which is really remarkable. But what's interesting is these appreciation rates go higher by size of house. So anything, between 1,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet, you're looking at 22% to 28% appreciation. When you get into larger homes, 3,000 square feet to 5,000 square feet, you're looking more 34%, 41%. And for the 10,000 square foot home, there's only been 3 sales of homes that large, but they're at 32.1%. So you can see that appreciation, it varies by size of home, but either way, anything over 20% is pretty remarkable. So if you bought a home even 2 months ago, you're in a good spot because it has definitely appreciated over that time. So I can tell you all day long that our inventory is low, but until you can have something to compare it to, it's really hard to understand that. So this is a great chart that shows the new listings by month, and color coded here. So 2019 is green, 2020 blue, 2021 is orange. So for the first few months of the year, you can see the orange line is well below every other line here. So our new listings coming to market is very low as compared to previous years. And it's interesting to look at April of last year in the blue. We still had more listings coming on the market in April and in March of last year than we did this year. And if you remember, how could we all forget? That was the beginning of lockdowns and the pandemic starting. So to know that we had still more listings coming on when there was so much uncertainty as compared to this year, it's pretty interesting to see that that's really how low we are. So every year it's gotten lower too, because in 2019 we had more. The green line on all of these is higher than the blue line of 2020. So every year it's kind of gone down in terms of our new listings per month. And hopefully that trend can change, but this really illustrates where we've been in the past, what we're accustomed to with new listings, and where we are today. So if that chart wasn't enough to help you understand, let's look at the bigger picture. So this is a chart of a graph of our active listings. This is back in 2020, the end of March, so about a year ago. And here we are today at 3711 new listings as of the week of 4/28. So, you can just see this has gone down significantly, and we're getting to a place where we're not going back up. That would be a pretty far way to go to get back to where we were last March. We've gone down significantly. Had a little bit of a spike here in the fall of new listings, which is normal for our market to see that towards the fall. But yeah, we're pretty low here. We definitely are going to need something to happen to get us a little bit more new listings on a weekly basis, and hopefully get closer back to here or even to there would be great. So with a lack of new listings, it's increasing prices. We all know the story, but wanted to share this because this is the sale price to list price ratio. So if you're thinking about selling your house, look at this. It's 101.1%, which means sellers are getting 1.1% over their list price for on average when we're looking at this across all areas of Phoenix and all types of properties. And it's pretty crazy to see the difference. I mean, even, let's see, can we find a year ago? So let's say April of 20, 98.2%. So you were, getting almost all of your list price most of the time, but now we're getting over list price 101.1%. And even when the market went kind of crazy last summer, we still were in the 98% range, and then it's just totally shot up. So if you're thinking about selling your house, this might be a motivator for you to know that this is what's happening as far as what price you listed at and what price you actually get under contract and close at. So I can show you graphs and charts all day long and talk about everything that's on these, but I think it's valuable for me to share with you what I'm seeing kind of on the ground level as I'm working with clients. And one thing that I've noticed lately is I have seen a few more homes drop their prices than I had seen in the last 3 to 6 months. So I thought it would be interesting to pull that data and let's see if that's actually happening. And I was right. So look at this. Here we are the week of April 4th. It's spiked up. April 11th is still higher than the previous weeks, and April 18th as well. So I know it's kind of hard to see. I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, so you weren't seeing any, oh no, okay. You weren't seeing very many price cuts, especially, let's see, what's this, January. So back in January, there were, that's fine, we're coming out of the holidays. You tend to see the market kind of soften a bit December, beginning of January. But then it went down. No one was cutting their prices really on their listings, down and down and down. Kind of stayed the same, and then in the last 3 weeks, yep, it's spiked up. So I am not sure if this is going to be a trend, but it's definitely something I've noticed as I've been working with clients, and it could be a sign that sellers are not getting the list price that they want, or their house is not selling as quickly as they thought it would. Therefore, they start cutting prices to be able to get under contract. And that means that either buyers aren't interested, or maybe the seller got too aggressive with their price. Either way, it is a move in a direction that would allow us to have a bit more balance. So we'll see. I'm going to keep an eye on this because I'd really like to know if this trend continues. And obviously I'll continue to monitor that in my experience, but it's good to be able to put the chart and the graph with, or put the data with what I'm feeling out in the field. I hope that was helpful to run through all of that information in the Cromford Report and see for yourself what's going on in the market. I will continue to do my Monday updates and also update next month as we look back at what happens in May. If you'd like to chat with me more about your situation or just have questions, feel free to reach out. I actually have a link in the description below where you can schedule a call with me. I'd be happy to chat with you that way, or send me a text or email. Before I go, I can't forget to talk about the dog of the week. Every week I highlight a dog that is at a local animal shelter in hopes that they find their forever home. And this week I am looking at the Saving Paws Rescue, and the dog of the week is Norman. He is an adorable German Shepherd. He's actually a senior. He's 10 years old. Which is nice if you want a dog that's not a puppy, but it does sound like he still has a lot of energy. So he likes to go for walks, he likes to play ball, and then he also likes to take it easy and relax with his humans. So if Norman is the dog for you, make sure you check it out. I have the link in the description below so you can check out his profile and get connected with Saving Paws to talk about adopting him, or share his profile with someone who may want to adopt him, and hopefully we can get Norman a home. If all of this information made you think about selling your home, you can check out my link below where you can get an instant home valuation, or reach out to me. I can prepare a CMA for you and talk to you about what's going on in not only your city, but also your neighborhood specifically. So don't be shy. Feel free to reach out to me if that interests you. Until next week, I will continue to watch the market. I will be back with more updates. And thank you so much for coming to my channel and watching this video. I hope you have a great weekend.